Hey YouTube, so today I'm talking about the Tascam Model 16. It's a multi-track recorder, a live mixer, and a DAW interface controller. Or it's also an interface for your PC and a DAW controller. The I have the Model 16, but what I'm saying today is actually applicable to the Model 24 as well as the Model 12, which will come out at the end of March. And so what I've done is I've recorded two tracks, drum track and a guitar track, and I'm going to show you how I recorded in here and what I did, and I'll give you a closer view of this. Let me turn this camera on. So in order to record as a multi-track recorder, this switch here has to be selected over to MTR, which is multi-track recorder. And by doing so, you can record onto this device without ever having to turn your computer on. This is a standalone recorder, but it's a multi-purpose to where if you switched over here to live, then you actually can do live performances and use this as a mixing board for your live performances and have all the sound go out to the main speakers, and you have monitor inputs, so on and so forth. And that would be a live switch. Then if you select it to PC, it'll be simply an interface for to play your music off of your computer. So the first step that I did is I used it as a multi-track recorder, and I had the computer on for the purpose of this video, but I've often used it without ever turning my computer on. And that brings me to why did I want this? Why did I think I needed a multi-track recorder? Now, I've recorded direct for years going through an interface. I've had a PreSonus USB 96 or 96 USB, I can't remember the exact name. Then I had an iRig, and then I've also had a Focusrite 4i4 Scarlett. And they work great, don't get me wrong, but I have a home studio, I play multiple instruments, and for my workflow, in order to stay creative and not be hindered by my equipment, I want to be able to move as quickly and as seamlessly as possible between instrumentation. For one, if I have an idea and I want to come hammer it out and record it, I can do so without getting the idea, sitting down, turning on the computer, waiting for it to boot up, opening up the recording program, getting my settings and tracks in place, and then hopefully I haven't lost my idea and I begin recording. With this, I simply turn it on and immediately I can start recording. There's no wait time. So for me, that was a big plus. And also, because I play multiple instruments, when I was using the PreSonus USB 96 especially, and of course with an iRig, you're very limited with that. And then my Focusrite 4i4, the input numbers were not sufficient for me. And plus, the small knobs and being able to have to make my adjustments, but then having to unplug, plug back in a new instrument, so on and so forth. So with this Model 16, I can plug all my instruments in at one time and leave them. And if there's any type of adjustment, it's very minor, and I have big controls where I can get to them very easily and not be hindered by, just the smallness of the device. So sure, an interface, a standalone interface is great for anybody. It surely is. But for me, workflow is everything. And so with this, I'm not hindered by boot up times of computers. I'm not losing the inspiration that I might have gained to be able to lay down my track. I could turn this on immediately and start using it. And then two, I can capture my ideas and transfer them from this device to the computer, which I'm going to show you momentarily. But that's my rationale for wanting something like this. Was there a learning curve? Absolutely. If you've never used anything like this, it's a lot to learn. But if you're determined and you want to make it work for yourself, it's worth it in the long run. I mean, I've had this a little over, about a week, I guess. I've had it, and I've finally got my head wrapped around it, and it's not that bad. It's all about that switch that I showed you, the live, the PC, or the multi-track recorder. Once you figure out how those work, then you can seamlessly move from one facet of this device to another. But again, the main thing is I can get up in the morning or whenever the inspiration hits me, immediately turn it on and start laying down tracks that I know I can move later to my computer and final them out. So with that said, let's get started. So I've laid down 2 tracks. I've laid down drums and I've laid down guitar. Now this device does not have a metronome, so what I did is I recorded several minutes of the metronome from my actual drum kit, and I'll play that for you now. I'll go ahead and turn this up. I'm going to turn these down, mute that, and I'm going to push play. And that's the metronome. I recorded that specifically so I could lay down my tracks. It's 120 BPM. And so I recorded that straight out of my drum kit, and I have it in its own track. And then whenever after I played and recorded my drums, I turned that down so I could record my guitar parts. Now I'm going to show you something else about this. Whenever you're going to record a part, you have to be sure and select these here, and that arms those tracks, and then in this case it's my drum tracks, to be ready to record. And so you have to be sure to do that. And of course I mute tracks if I'm not going to be using, like I'm not going to be using that metronome anymore. So this was my metronome track, and you can see there's no inputs in it. I had actually moved that over to record the metronome part. But I don't want to get too convoluted with this, but those are essentials to this key. But my main thing right now is I'm wanting to show you how I can use this as a USB device. Alright, so I have Logic Pro opened up. This is actually serving as my interface right now. I have a USB connection between this and the computer. Alright, so now what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to take the song that I just recorded, which I actually have it on these 4 tracks right here. It's my drums and then guitar, and I recorded the guitar through this headrush pedal board, and of course that's my Elisa's drum kit right there, and they came in through tracks 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, so that's where I recorded them at. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select menu, and I've got it on storage right here. So what I'll do is I'll depress the jog wheel, switch to storage mode. Are you sure? Yes. So you see this light right here, it's lit, it says USB. This right now is connected to the computer, and I can use it as an interface or a playback device to where any sounds on the computer will actually come through this board and out to the mains, to the speakers. But this option here essentially turns this into a card reader. So what I just recorded, it says USB connected. And when I did that, it disconnected it as in an interface, and now it's in card reader mode. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to move this over, and there it is. That's my folder. Now, right here is multi-track recorder. That's where and I named it Model 16001. Okay, so I'll open that. Now you'll see there's a lot of tracks in there. One of them is the metronome. That's the longest track. So I'm going by this. And then I had multiple takes, and that's one thing about this is you can't really erase a track, so you got to kind of be mindful of that. It does allow you to clear the track so you can make new recording, but it's still going to keep it. It's just going to clear it out of that track so you can use it. So you can see here these 4 are the same. I had 4 tracks I recorded, so I'm going to select those 4, and I'm going to drag and drop those right into Logic Pro. Bam. Okay, now it's going to give me some options. Create new tracks. All selected files stem from one project. Yes. Okay, bam. It's doing its thing. And there it is. There's my drums and there's my guitar. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unmount the Tascam. Okay, so I've unmounted the Tascam. I'm going to press exit here, and that takes it out of card reader mode. Now it's back into interface mode. And so at this point, what I'm going to do is, because I want it to come through these 2 tracks, I'm going to select that to PC, All right, and the gain knob doesn't, because there's nothing coming in. It's all going to be through the USB. I'm going to turn these down, and I've got, okay, everything looks good. Okay, I'm going to unmute that because it's not going to play the track where I recorded the metronome. It's just going to play what's coming out of the computer. And just for general purpose sake, I'm going to go ahead and mute those, turn all the faders down, except I'm going to even bring the main down, and I'm going to turn these up just a little bit, and I'm just going to verify that it's in there. So I'm going to go right here to the beginning, and I'm going to push play. Now you can see it's registering on there. And there you can hear it. So now it's functioning as a USB, or actually it's functioning as a DAW controller. And I want you to see this. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Pan left. I'm going to so I'm panning. I can pan these. This has full effect. This has full control over the DAW, and also those. This is your EQ section, and it can change. You can change your sound too. And I'm putting a little. This is a soft knee compression, so you don't really hear that much of a change. But that's. I just wanted to do that to show you that this actually does control the DAW. Left, right, pan. Left, right, pan. And so these two tracks are the only two tracks that you have your PC playback on. I'm going to stop this. Actually, I got to stop it here because it's not actually playing through here. It's playing these tracks here actually in the computer. So that's how this functions as a DAW controller. So remember, if you have whatever your track you're on, if you have it in live, that's going to be this will be a mixing board for a live mix. But you'll see also it has that little bracket for USB. You can do your computer playback in either of those positions, PC or live direct. Now if you're going to record on this without it being without your computer being on, and you're just wanting to use this as a multi-track recorder, you select it to MTR. That's what that means, multi-track recorder. And so that's the functionality of this unit. But for me, like I said, it increases my workflow. I don't have to wait for computers to boot up, programs to open up. I can immediately start recording. I leave everything plugged in. I even have a dust cover that accommodates anything I have plugged in. So I just leave stuff plugged in. It's not in and out, in and out. The adjustments are easy to reach right there in front of me. I can see exactly what's going on. So for workflow purposes and creativity purposes, this is an excellent choice for me over a standalone interface, and then having to boot up programs, mouse over controls, and things like that. For me, this is really a time saver and an efficiency, efficient device for my workflow. So that's why I chose the Tascam Model 16 mixer interface recorder, and everything that I just showed you actually applies to the Model 24 and the Model 12 as well. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to go ahead and edit this track and apply it to my video. That's right. And on top of being able to control your DAW with these and make adjustments, you can also use your existing program and add the effects that are in it. So like if I wanted to go to the out track, I add EQ, then I can add all my effects that way in here as well. So it's really the best of both worlds. It's not either or. This is a hybrid mix of both analog and digital. And so this is surely a welcomed addition to any home studio to just give you even more control and tweakability to any recording projects that you have. It's really a great device. There's a learning curve, but if you learn it, it's well worth it. All right, thanks for watching.